Alright guys, we are back for another Dokkan battle video. Just wanted to do the quick EZA TUR tier list update. I'm actually quite late on this. It's just one of these things where anniversary is really like busy and crazy and stuff like that, and I just am kind of like not really finding the proper time for all this stuff. So let's jump into this. We've had some characters introduced recently, EZA TURs, who are very, very good. This list has certainly been shaken up quite a bit. But, I mean, that's what Anniversary does, right? Anniversary is going to show up, and it's going to flip everything upside down. It works like this year after year after year. So, all right, let's start with number 10. I'm going to just grab the bottom three right here, and we'll kind of move forward from there. So, we have Int Super Saiyan 2 / 3 Goku. We have the Tech Super Saiyan 2 Majin Vegeta. Well, Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta / Majin Vegeta. And then we have the Trunks and Goten. Now, I mean, these characters are good, right? Like they're definitely good characters. But all three of them, it's like, at their best, they're great. And I do say oftentimes that I feel like the community too often is only focusing or caring or looking about a unit at their max potential, like, and not like kind of like what they're typically doing. Super Saiyan 2 / 3 Goku, he can get a lot of dodge, but it's very easy for him to be destroyed, eviscerated, especially if your HP is low, and then he loses a lot of his dodge chance. He can be good, but I just have found him a little wishy-washy for me. Trunks and Goten can be very, very powerful. They can build up to 80% dodge and stuff like that. But the initial, like, building up of their passive can be a little annoying at the start, right? Because this is a character that needs to be targeted, but you can't control, like, enemy targets and placements and stuff like that. I think that fights are probably going to start to move to be like a longer fashion. Some of the new like red zone stages and stuff like that are kind of like of a longer variety, which would certainly help this character a lot. But remember, as they get targeted, then we are going to be able to get like dodge and different defensive ability, stuff like that. So, you know, with them built up, they're very good, but you do still have to get there, right? They could be a little bit hit or miss. They're also very good if you have the full Kamehameha rotation. Now, Tech Majin Vegeta, this is the other thing, too, about Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Tech Majin Vegeta. Their transformation condition absolutely sucks. It's terrible. It's awful. Routinely, I feel like I'm cucked out of being able to transform with them. That's something that might be a little bit, the burden might be a tad easier as we're moving forward, right, into potentially longer fights. But, again, we'll see once all the Part 3 fights drop exactly what the landscape of this meta is going to look like, right? We'll see how it's going to be. I just think that this transformation condition is rough. And Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, this guy basically sucks, right? Like, any type of power creep, and this guy is the fish of fishes. I do think Majin Vegeta is pretty good, but you got to actually transform first. He does need a lot of orbs, but I think it's not really too tough to have his condition up. Which allows him to be Rainbow Orb changing. Both him and Super Saiyan 3 Goku have this, which obviously can be very, very, very good. So even though Vegeta, Trunks, and Goten, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, they are good, but I think that there's kind of like negatives here that are rough. Now, we can talk about this next guy, Super Easy AGL Super Vegito. Man, I don't know. I am not a fan of him. But I am going to be fair to him, right? That's not his Super Easy passive. There it is. Listen. I can put him above Tech Majin Vegeta pretty easily because I think Tech Majin Vegeta's condition, I just personally have had many runs where it's been rough. I do think Transform Tech Majin Vegeta is way better than this donkey shit. But, I mean, I don't know. We can revisit this maybe after the Part 3 fights. But right now, I mean, this guy is definitely better than base Vegeta. We'll see how things will go. This guy is pretty easy to run. If he's below 50%, I think that this guy is very good if you have this up. But unfortunately, he is just a fish. I don't really understand the infatuation with this character besides the fact that he is a Vegito and he does have a very good looking battle motion, which I think has part to do with it. But characters who can't survive supers, are pretty worthless. And I'm not talking, oh, so just because he can't go slot 1, he's bad. That's not even what I'm saying. He's not a slot 2 character. If you say this guy's a slot 2 character, you don't really understand the game. A slot 2 character would be a character that gets massive defense or stats after they attack. This guy does get defense after he attacks, sure. But you know what else he catches after he attacks? Instant fucking death from boss super attacks. This guy does not just, oh, he's a slot 2, and then he's okay. You want to know who's like a real slot 2? Would be Majin Vegeta, who supers in slot 2, and he's immortal, right? Super Vegito does not have that. But I truly, from the depths of my core, hate the transformation condition for Tech Majin Vegeta. And I'm not impressed with his base, so I think it's fair to get Super Vegito right here. That transformation condition I think is brutal. All right, next, Super Gogeta. It's very simple for me why I have Gogeta above Vegito. Gogeta in slot 2 or slot 3 can very easily eat, 4+ million super attacks. We had Gogeta live from the memorable battle Gogeta, who's a 4+ million super. So whereas Vegito is a fish, this guy could actually take some supers. I'm not as high on him as I would like, though, because of this. So these stats hugely strengthen this guy with these rainbow orbs right here. You feel the difference as you get these rainbow orbs. But he does not create his orbs. Characters that need orbs but don't create them like this, it's an issue, man. It's a real issue to have to deal with. So I like this Gogeta, and you certainly can bring a bunch of other rainbow orb characters on the team, but the best unit in the game right now, LR Tech Vegito, this character struggles for ki at a lot of times. They need a lot of type ki spheres. So, you're probably always going to be running this guy like in slot 2. He's going to be getting the ki. So I've found it just potentially a bit annoying getting Gogeta the rainbow orbs he needs, to help be very effective. One other thing I should mention about these super EZAs, Gogeta, Vegito, Buuhan, Janemba, remember, they are giving support abilities as well, which is nice. Does give you kind of extra incentive to run all of them with their support. All right, so there's that. Next, we can go ahead and grab the physical Super Saiyan 2/3 Goku. I've just found this guy to be pretty solid in base form, which is why I have him right here. I am not the biggest fan of his transformation condition either. His transformation condition, you have to fall below 77% HP. It's not the worst of all time, but what it is inconsistent. That is the wording I like to use for that HP condition. You have it when you have it, you don't when you don't. Right now, maybe the hardest fight or kind of like the standard fight we're using is that Gold and Frieza fight, who right away just, instant kills you. He does not whittle you down. He just blows you straight into the catacombs of hell when he supers you, right? So it's not really like, we're tanking him and then whittle down and transform. But I think that this guy is actually pretty solid in base. He's solid enough in his base form that I could take him over like Gogeta or Vegito, I think. And then obviously, if we are able to transform into him, he does become quite good. Especially if fights get longer and longer and longer, which I kind of think is probably going to happen, to satisfy like how the Vegito and Gogeta units seem to be set up. I do think that this character, he's going to become pretty interesting as you're able to like fully build this up, right? You get all this damage reduction, all this dodge, 50% dodge, 50% damage reduction. Like, he seems intriguing to me, but we'll see. But for now, I like him right here. Next, we have Super EZA Tech Beerus. He's pretty solid. A lot of knuckleheads. Just, I don't know. I've seen negative comments about Beast a lot, Tech Beerus. Dumbos who don't even play the game hate characters who are just defensive walls. But guess what? When you're actually playing the fucking game, guess what you need? The ability to deal with boss super attacks. I think that this guy, I mean, we have a real crazy level of power coming from like that Golden Frieza boss. That Golden Frieza is, he's going to take out most of our top tier defensive characters, even this guy. But this guy, I mean, especially in slot, he could get down in slot 1 once he's got this build up. Even in slot 2, this guy's crazy. He does also potentially have a team protection mechanic. Not something you can really control like some other better versions, like, AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku or something like that. But, I mean, it is something that can be rather useful. For example, if we talk about that Golden Frieza boss, Golden Frieza is hyper aggressive. It's the way the fight is designed to where he will super attack twice, almost instantly, almost all the time, right? So what I'm saying is, even a one-turn giant form is very likely to burn both of Golden Frieza's super attacks, so you won't have to deal with those after you leave the giant form. So Beerus still pretty solid. I'll take his level of defense over kind of the, I guess like higher RNG damage characters, which is what the 3 of them below them are. And then the top 3, I mean, they just feel a lot stronger, really. I don't know. Like, they're kind of... Okay. Kid Buu, I think a good word for him is he's very, like, balanced. He could do good damage. He can have good defense. This is a huge character I would highly encourage. I think my Kid Buu probably performs better than a lot of people's because it's a very simple thing with him. You want to give him a full dodge build and try and not lose this. While this is up in slot 2, I mean, he can't be touched. You don't really want to worry about this. This essentially just gives him damage, is all this is. Even though there is some defense there, I mean, this 20% damage reduction is more important, right? So you want to keep that up as long as possible. This Kid Buu is very, very powerful. And, I mean, he very likely is going to be able to survive. I mean, especially we talk about that slot 2 roll. He's going to be able to survive really nasty, really big boss attacks. I do feel like his defense and his level is going to be a bit above, the other characters there. Next, I'm going to get Super Easy Janemba in here. It's very simple with Janemba. I was very impressed with him. Janemba in slot 1 has a 90% chance to dodge. But what happens if he doesn't dodge? Is he fodder? No. I had him tank Gogeta's super. Memorable battle, Gogeta super. He lived. Before, he attacked or anything. It's just, I was enough. He's a 90% dodge character, but he can eat a 4 million super. It just seems like this Janemba's crazy. Again, remember, Janemba is supporting, by the way. Janemba supports, remember, Tech Beerus supports. All these super EZAs, they just slide some level of support on them, which is actually pretty good, I would say. Like all these characters, Gogeta, Vegito, Beerus, Janemba, like Buuhan, them all having these support levels, I think is very, very helpful to running them on teams. And then the characters at number 1, just because he feels like they accidentally just, like they just overtune him. It's like Beerus, because see, like Beerus, I feel like is kind of in line with a lot of these like super EZAs and stuff like that. And he's a pre-10th anniversary character. Beerus is like a huge, like, he was like an aberration mistake type character. This Buuhan seems similar. He's orb changing, supporting. He is very tanky in slot 2, especially if you get these rainbow orbs at 66% damage reduction. He guaranteed additional supers. He's essentially guaranteed critting. You get 3 rainbow orbs, he has a 99% chance to crit with 3 rainbow orbs. So he's just guaranteed critting, guaranteed supering, guaranteed orb changing, healing, supporting. It's just, he's a ridiculous character. But this is, you guys can go back months and months and months. I need to start pushing back and point out how consistent I am with a lot of these statements and a lot of the things I feel. I got to start carrying some of these W's, guys. I'm sorry. But I've been saying super easy mechanic to a lot of people is, oh, look, this old character who we loved back then. Let's use Super Vegito as an example. Yahoo, he's good again. Which he's at the very least, I wouldn't really call this guy dog shit or anything. Well, mid. I want to settle on my official statement on him is like mid. Because he dies supers, but he could do a lot else if he's not targeted with a super, right? But for me, super EZAs are not about like this guy or this guy. It's about this guy and this guy. Villains. Super EZA is the villain revival mechanic. We are always going to get more summonable hero class characters and villains. Period. 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 Part 1 of the anniversary was 3 super class characters. Part 2 of the anniversary is going to be 2 super class characters and a villain turn 1 that could, tag swap with Goku, who will be super class, right? So it's like, essentially, we kind of have like 5 out of 6 summonable LRs or super class. Some shit like that. We're always going to get more super class characters. But if they're going to hit with the villain EZAs, villains will be fine. And they have. Buuhan, hit. Janemba, hit. Full Power Frieza, hit. Right? Like, they hit on all these villain EZAs. Villains are going to be looking pretty good. I think that Janemba and Buuhan being better than the Vegito and Gogeta is really good for the game. Because guess what? Vegito and Gogeta are getting more DOKKANFEST LRs, more Carnival LRs, more DOKKANFEST LRs. Like, all that's going to come. And the villains will get stuff less often. So, I'm pretty pleased with the way things have turned out. I did this. Perhaps we could get Buuhan in his own tier. I would not really be against that. We could even maybe revisit that later on. Not the biggest deal right now to have it like this, but I would say we could easily do 3 tiers of this, right? Where we have Buuhan by himself. I do think Buuhan is legitimately that strong. I'm going to leave it like this, but there's a good argument, and I would definitely be open to listening to it, to have Buuhan in his own tier. Because he's just very, powerful, consistent. Again, he's guaranteed additional supering. Guaranteed critting. I mean, provided you have 3 rainbow orbs, which, and I guess technically it's not guaranteed. It's only 99%. So it's not technically guaranteed, but basically you're going to get it, right? He's just doing all this shit so easily, and he hits so hard. His defense is so high. He's supporting. He's orb changing. He's just... His bag of tricks, they do this with these Buuhan characters, man, where they just give them this big fucking bag that they could reach into, man. It's like Iverson or something like that. Like, the Buuhan characters, they make like Allen Iverson, Ja Morant. Like, they could do all this shit, man. Right? Like, it's crazy. So, big fan of Super EZA Buuhan. Again, I think that a lot of the EZAs, I mean, there's been arguing about these characters so much, these anniversary Super EZAs, but I mean, they all feel pretty good to me. I wish Vegito had a little bit more tanking in supers. I wish that Beast, I wish Gogeta was a Rainbow Orb changer. These things would have significantly buffed them, right? Like, if Gogeta was a Rainbow Orb changer, I mean, maybe we could talk about getting him above Beerus if he was a Rainbow Orb changer. Could be interesting. So, let me know what you guys think. Love you guys. Here is the last one we did. Yeah, not really any changes, just all the new Super EZAs added to it. Super EZA Gohan, Super EZA Frieza, Bojack, and Super EZA Broly fall off. Those characters still have their uses too, by the way. Right now, Dokkan has done a good job with most characters. That it's just, we have a lot of options to run and a lot of decent options to run. So, let me know what you guys think. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.